behemoth still floats. While this scene might sound like wishful thinking or something out of a cheap war movie, it actually happened in real life. The USS America was holds the title of being the only supercarrier sunk, intentionally or in battle, in world history. After she was decommissioned in 1996, the carrier was slated to be destroyed in a live fire testing for the up-and-coming Nimitz-class carriers. The reason why she was selected was because she was quite similar in design and make to the Nimitz-class carriers, and U.S. Navy engineers wanted to see really how much punishment a ship like this could take. The results of the testing far exceeded any of their expectations. Over the course of 4 weeks, the America was pounded with missiles from aircraft and ships, as well as torpedoes from submarines. She definitely took some heavy damage, but due to her construction, was still able to stay afloat by herself, even without a crew on board conducting damage control. In the end, Navy explosive specialists had to board her and place demolition charges in specific places in order to sink her, which they finally did on May 14, 2005. It's incredibly unlikely that a team of skilled saboteurs could ever board the U.S. Navy carrier and sink it with timed explosives. But even against conventional threats, these behemoths of American diplomacy are pretty darn hard to take out. Here are 10 reasons why U.S. Navy aircraft carriers are impossible to sink. Number 10. The F-18 attack aircraft. What would an aircraft carrier be without their aircraft? After all, their carrier air wing is what gives them their ability to attack from hundreds of miles before enemy units can even get within firing range of the carrier. There are 3 main aircraft that make up carrier air wings, and the F-18 Super Hornet is the strike warfare side of the house. The F-18 is the workhorse of the air wing, and each carrier can have up to about 50 of these aircraft on board. They are an all-purpose fighter that can combat targets in the air and on the ground. With their speed and maneuverability, they can easily outrun most combat aircraft in the world today. Though they have limited history in proving their air-to-air prowess with just 2 kills in the Gulf War, they've seen extensive use against ground targets in the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Because of this, the F-18 is more than capable of knocking out enemy aircraft and shore installations hundreds of miles before they even become a threat to the carrier. Number 9. Link 16. U.S. and NATO units use what are called tactical data links to share information. Though most NATO units only have Link 11, U.S. forces are all equipped with the newest and most secure data link called Link 16. Broken down in its most basic form, tactical data links are simply a secure way to share information. By utilizing a variety of measures like frequency hopping and encryption, the data can be nearly impervious to enemy attempts to intercept or disrupt the information flow, thereby guaranteeing the free flow of communications. In a real-world scenario, the carrier would be able to link up with the entire strike group and as many other units as the carrier wanted, thereby ensuring all units would have secure comms and a means of feeding information quickly in a real-world scenario. Number 8. The SCIF. Going along the lines of secure information, on board every carrier is what's called a SCIF, which stands for Secure Compartmentalized Information Space. These spaces are top secret, and only those with extensive security background investigations and a need to know are allowed to enter. While the equipment inside is highly classified, SCIFs are an incredibly useful tool in that they allow processing and dissemination of vital information quickly. The information that could be received could be intel about an upcoming strike, indications and warnings of a terrorist attack, or anything else that would be of national security interest or pose an imminent danger to the carrier. Because other small ships like destroyers and cruisers do not have a SCIF, the carrier becomes crucial as a means for getting vital information quickly and securely. Because of this, even if an enemy was planning an attack, the carrier would be forewarned about it. Number 7. Their personal defense systems. All warships are equipped with a robust line of defenses that when all other measures fail and a ship must stand on their own, she can still counter an attack. Carriers are no different. They have a variety of active and passive countermeasures on board that can be their last line of defense should an enemy threat ever get through. The most dangerous threat a carrier would face would be an enemy missile. For this, carriers have multiple Sea Sparrow or rolling airframe missiles designed to take out enemy missiles as a last resort before they strike the carrier. They're also armed with a close-in weapon system designed to shoot 20mm tungsten-tipped rounds at a rate of thousands of rounds a minute. The Sea Whiz also can be fired in surface-mode like skiffs or suicide boats. For subsurface threats, carriers employ active countermeasures known as Nixie. Nixie is a towed array that can be fired with acoustic buoys that attract torpedoes away from the carrier and toward it. Lastly, the carrier can pick up and fight against attacks along the electromagnetic spectrum with its Slick 32. Escort 32 is a powerful piece of equipment that can operate passively and actively against enemy threats like jamming. Number 6. The EA-18 Growler. The EA-18 Growler is a modified version of the FA-18 Hornet in that it has advanced electronic warfare suites on board to counter a variety of threats. Its primary mission is the suppression of enemy radar defenses, and it does this in two ways. The first way is called passive countermeasures, whereby it can pick up electromagnetic frequencies from enemy radars and pass that information along about their bearing and range to the carrier or other units. If needed, the Growler can then take out the threats itself through active measures by launching a missile at the radars. Because of this aircraft, carriers can feel relative comfort from the threat that anti-ship missiles and even ICBMs pose, since without fire control radars to find and track a target, the missiles are essentially high-priced junk. Number 5, their escorts. Carriers aren't ever alone, and they always deploy with escort ships. This combination of ships is then called a carrier strike group. Within each strike group, there's typically one carrier, 3 destroyers, 1 cruiser, and a submarine. Though in today's operations, escorts may peel off to conduct other taskings. In a scenario where the strike group would be under a real threat of attack, all the escorts will return to be within range to protect the carrier. As great as it sounds, the escorts, especially the destroyers, would act more or less as a bullet sponge for the carrier in actual battle. This is because, though the goal of the destroyer is to take down missiles well before they reach their target, in the end, if it came down to trying to save a carrier by